there is a big chance that many of us will fumble the opportunity that this crypto cycle and especially the altcoin cycle presents to us, making multiples out of the money that we've put in, maybe 10, 20, 30x or even 100 to 1,000 x's. But to not fuck this up, I have set a couple of ground rules for myself that I want to share with you. It's about indicators, it's about self-discipline, it's about timing a little bit, but also about patience. So make sure to stay all the way through, and if you implement those rules or not, that is completely up to you. But please, in any case, smash up the like button if you enjoy these updates. Also, if you enjoy the nature walk here, subscribe to the channel, notifications on so you never miss out on a video or live stream. And let's discuss the rules. So rule number 1 is take your initial investment as soon as possible. And as soon as possible means that we see smaller coins going up like 5-6x in the matter of a couple of days, right? So if you're seeing your altcoin there with $100 suddenly sitting at $600, $700 or maybe $1,000 after an initial run up, why not take these $100 out so that if it crashes and burns because of whatever, like the team abandons it, it gets rug pulled or so on, that you at least have this money and nothing's lost, right? You can say, okay, nice try, but I didn't lose anything, okay? So that is rule number 1 for me, to say, okay, I'm up 10x or so. I'm going to take my initial invest and maybe 2 to 3%, so I can say, okay, I made profit on this one. No one ever went poor because of taking profit when in profit, right? So that doesn't work. Next thing is, what Bitcoin does leads the way is still true. The indicators that we're looking at, they are still showing that we're nowhere near the top, or I would say that the top is not in. Nowhere near, it is very difficult to say. But look at this. So first of all, if we're looking at the price performance and the indicators that we are having basically on a daily basis in the Crypto Morning Coffee, you can see the RSI is not at 90. In all previous cycles, the RSI went to 90. You can see that the MACD is bullish and broadening on a monthly scale, right? We do not see any closeness to a cross. The forming of a cross on the MACD, it takes some time, right? It takes months to close, and we can really look at every month how it closes, and then you will see how these lines are coming together. The same counts for the TSI. We have a very bullish momentum on the TSI, and even if we go down on a weekly here for the TSI, then we also see that we are extremely bullish still on the TSI. So that is very cool. The next one is that also there are other indicators that imply that we are not there yet. For example, you look at the rainbow chart in the areas that the rainbow chart visits, we are nowhere near an orange zone, a bubble zone of sorts in this chart, as well as the pi cycle indicator. If you look here at these lines that are converging into a cross, which was 100% correct for every top except the fake out top of the last cycle, then we also can see that these lines are not really close to each other. So we see that the Bitcoin still has way to go. And lastly, MVRV Z-score is also not showing that the market is massively overvalued in terms of the realized value, right? So we also don't see that really happening at the moment. MVRV Z-score, in fact, is still below the absolute, let's say, vertical zone, the absolute parabolic zone. So there could be something happening still in terms of massive profits, but it might not be the long time frame that is expected by some people, right? So some people think that we're gonna pump the entire year. Maybe if you'll see these huge spikes in MVRV Z-score, which means basically market value versus realized value, and then deducting an overvaluation from that. If you're looking at that, you can see that these needle spikes to the upside, they happen in a very, very short time frame, right? And now, let's say, okay, that is all about Bitcoin, right? Why do I care about Bitcoin when I hold altcoins? The question is, like, if Bitcoin pumps, altcoin will follow, but at some point Bitcoin will be done, right? And then there's a very short window where the altcoins are going completely ballistic, and then also they are going to top out at some point. Not everyone in the same day, but very close to each other, right? So, and our goal here, and this is rule number 2, we don't want to be the last to take profit, obviously, but we also don't want to be the first ones, right? Because you can have profit taking way too early. So in my opinion, for most of the altcoins, except the rule of taking out your initial profit, is if you press the sell button now on, for example, on an MCAD or something like that, it might be way too early, right? It might be way too early. For this, my rule is I don't sell everything at once and I scale out. So if you have already taken out your initial investment, your bag, whatever altcoin, doubles from here, take 10%. It doubles again, take another 10% and so on, right? Maybe then take 20 or 30% when you see in the altcoin indicators and so on that we are coming closer and closer and closer to this end run, right? Rule for me, the absolute rule for me is that I know I won't hit the top. So I don't have to stress myself if I take a nice profit, but I will definitely not hit the top. So that's clear for me. So I don't have to cry if I found something interesting here, by the way, that I want to show you while this plane is flying over the forest. But look at this. Someone in the middle of the forest built a Christmas tree, right? So a couple of things hanging here, especially also for the birds, some food in the middle of the forest. It's not that there's so much snow that the birds don't find any food anymore, so I think that was not necessary, but it's funny what you find when you're walking through the wood. Anyway, so okay, I don't have to nail the top because I know I will not be able to, right? So I want to come close to the top in the parabolic zone, and I want to meet the targets that my altcoins can have, right? So if a VeChain, for example, goes to 60 cents, I'm okay with selling at 40 cents, right? I'm okay with missing the last piece if I bought at 2 cents, for example, right? If I can sell a OMI at 0.008 or so, I'm okay with that if it then goes to 2 cents or so, right? I mean, that would still be massive lost profit, but it's better than waiting too much. You see the top coming in and then have an 80% correction, and in the end you're walking away with what, like a double or like 3x? That is not why you are in the market, right? So, I mean, that you have to know that for yourself. But let's look at the altcoin season as well. Look at this here, right? So altcoin season, we have just hit the altcoin season territory. And altcoin season means in the bull cycle, if you're zooming out, then you see in 2021, we have been approximately 3 months after hitting that territory. And we had a couple of months before a small spike into that as well as this time when we were in these Bitcoin ETF territory, right? So that is also something that to keep in mind, that we are forming the same patterns again, right? So we can look at these indicators and really deduct something from it. That doesn't mean that for profit taking, we are waiting until the altcoin season signals it's over. It might be in the middle of altcoin season that we are fine with the profit that we have in a certain altcoin and that we're going to take that profit, right? Or along the way, like 10% out, double, 10% out, double, 10% out, and so on, right? That can be a valid strategy that piles on a cashback that you can then use for the next cycle. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about when exactly we are expecting this whole altcoin thing to hit. And I think that's very difficult, right? So the altcoin top, to time it, I think it's very difficult. But what we can do is we can look at, are we there yet? Are we already there or not, right? Look at this, total 2. The entire crypto market cap except stablecoins and Bitcoin is only at the previous all-time high. Usually you have a breakout from that all-time high and then a price discovery where it gets more and more difficult to estimate. For total 2, we are there already. Look at this. This is the others chart. Everything crypto market cap except the top 10 and stablecoins, right? So except Bitcoin, except Ethereum, except BNB, except XRP, it's all not in there. So all these smaller coins, they are not even at their all-time high from the last cycle, right? Not even there yet in terms of market cap. So there's way to go in my opinion, right? So you can look at that and say, okay, we are not there yet, so I don't have to bother with taking the majority of my profits just yet, right? Only a black swan can destroy the crypto market at this point, and it needs to be a hell of a black swan to destroy that crypto run that is, in my opinion, about to come. Now, what do we see? We are in the first third of December at the moment, and we just hit the altcoin season territory in the altcoin season indicator. And what does it tell me? It tells me that we are in the altcoin season, and we have about 3 months to go. Okay, so that would put us somewhere in February with the majority of the gains, right? So you have December, January, February, end of February, beginning of March should then be the end of this altcoin season. Does it have to be like that? No, maybe we get a prolonged run, maybe more excitement, maybe more stimulus, right? But I think the explosive move will be in January. Why? First of all, because people are going to Christmas dinners, like the Thanksgiving one, and telling everybody about the crypto gains, showing the portfolios on the smartphones, and multiply, like every crypto degen is going to multiply by 5 or so, right? Then this has a delay because people first of all need to they get their year-end salary, they get their extra like 13th salary, year-end bonus, Christmas presents from the boomers that don't understand, or like the older generation that doesn't understand crypto, but they get money, and the generation that does understand suddenly has maybe $1,000 more at hand to ape into crypto, right? So that could be one reason. So all that effect, maybe plus tax harvesting right now and going back into the opportunities in January, will lead to massive boom in January and February, in my opinion. So all that in mind, I think the biggest part of that altcoin season is yet to come. Plus, remember how we're looking at the money flow of altcoin season. Well, we had the Bitcoin season, it's over, right? Now it's altcoin season. Ethereum is now the one that is outperforming. Ethereum, we just have a big breakout. Target 6,800 Ethereum. We know that when Ethereum runs, altcoins that are based on Ethereum plus other altcoins, they tend to orient and follow, right? So Ethereum will run. Potentially then Sui and Solana and so on will run. Everything that's on top of that will run like hell, right? So we have all of that. As one big factor that is going to play out. So for example, if we are in the Ethereum one at the moment, and I have proof here, right? So for example, you see this, like the biggest purchases of ETFs have just happened for Ethereum, right? So we just saw that BlackRock was buying as much as Ethereum as never before. And so far, for the argument that institutions are not going to buy into the altcoins and therefore there will not be an altcoin season. You remember when everyone was saying that this time there might not be an altcoin season, it's just going to be Bitcoin? Blah, blah, bullshit, right? As always. It's like the same, like altcoins dead, not coming back, right? You see, like even the most dead of the altcoins are coming back from the dead. The same bullshit I'm already calling since months on the NFT, that NFTs are dead, right? You see it already. Pudgy penguins, for example, getting a big ton of hype. People are already buying CryptoPunks and stuff like that. So the NFT already gets the first spike. It will run as well, in my opinion. And so will Vivi. So it's starting to rain a little bit harder here, so I have to end this video soon. But just keep all of this in mind and set yourself a plan to act accordingly. In my opinion, it would be too early now, as we're just at all-time highs there. But and I think we are only in this Ethereum to big cap overlap phase, where the real altcoin season, where these massive gains are made in a couple of days. When this starts, basically you can say, when you're looking at an altcoin and you just can't believe it how much it is, that might be the time to take the majority of your profits. Like, for example, you have an MCAD, like you put in $300 and now it's 1.5K, right? If you're waking up one day and suddenly you're looking at $15,000 or $20,000, like I don't know, like a 10 or even 20x, and you're just like, I can't believe that this coin is like, I can't believe how much money that is. Had I only put in a couple of dollars more, well then maybe it's time to take the majority of the profits, right? Because that's exactly the feeling where the market is overtuned, overrun by new investors, like new backholders, right? And then the most important rule for myself is whenever I think, but it could 10x, not now, but then, right? When the indicators show, okay, now it's time to take profit, and you think, but it could 10x, we're going to ignore ourselves at this point, right? Because then it's like, you have to look at the other side and say $300 or $20,000 right now, that's as good as it gets, right? Even if it doubles from there, I mean, yes, you could cry that you don't have 30 instead of $15,000 or what, but you really can't do that, because at some point the party is over and your 30,000 crashed down to 3,000 in a couple of weeks, yeah, or months. So keep that all in mind. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to smash up the like button if you enjoy outdoor videos in the rain, and wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night or afternoon. I catch you in the next video. Bye.